The cardiology department at Our Lady's Children's Hospital Crumlin is the third biggest centre for paediatric cardiac surgery in the British Isles.
Having heart disease is simply a statistical issue in terms of the number of children who are born, so the higher the birth rate, the more kids will have heart disease.
Over 500 children are operated on here every year.
First thing I'll give you will just make you a bit sleepy woozy. We call this happy medicine.
Complex procedures to correct defects are carried out daily with great success rates.
The reality is the vast majority of children that we take care of will have curative procedures and have a complete repair of their cardiac defect and live normal lives into adulthood.
However, recent advances in surgical interventions have now made it possible to perform high-risk novel procedures on infants who previously would have died.
We're going to be ready to give cardio and low flow shortly, okay?
This is a day you know he needs.
But the decision to take the route of surgery is not taken lightly, as many of these procedures can only currently offer a life expectancy into early adulthood.
Our goal is to give an individual child the best quality of life possible for as long as possible.
Banking on future developments, decisions made on day one of life grow increasingly difficult as children get older.
You're literally putting your child's life in someone else's hands and you've no control over it.
But some parents take on the risks with the hope of giving their child a chance at life.
Short lives can have great meaning.
In the busy weekly clinics of the Heart Centre in Crumlin, thousands of children with heart disease are regularly monitored by a team of specialised consultants and nurses.
Orla's going to see you in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll see where we go to.
Yeah, no bother.
Okay?
Yeah,
see you in a little while. Yeah.
Today, 5-month-old Zach Murphy from Kells is seeing consultant Dr. Orla Franklin. He is facing one of the most complex surgeries ever taken on by the surgical team in Crumlin.
You bring your mum and dad?
Yeah.
Great, come on in.
Bring the clan in.
How's he got on in the last week?
Grand, yeah, but his speeds are down. The last 2 nights his speeds are down, about 200 mils.
So just put him over there on the couch. I just want to have a little look at him and make sure that there's nothing I need to worry about. Come here. There you go. Good boy, Zach.
Zach was diagnosed antenatally with a very rare heart condition. Without surgery, he cannot survive.
Will you take that?
We're hoping to get to the surgery in the next, I suppose, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
By the middle of February it will be done.
Okay.
And I think that he's beginning to show signs that it's time to do it.
Yeah.
Getting
big.
Yeah, he's getting big. The stent that's been put in, he's obviously going to outgrow.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's growing and the stent isn't. So we need to move things on with a system for Zach that can grow, and the answer therefore is the Glen, and to fix his aortic arch at the same time.
Zach has very complex congenital heart disease. At the most basic level, your heart is usually on the left side of your body. Zach's is over towards the right. And almost every organ structure in his heart is either misplaced, malformed, or small. And so we were faced with some kind of difficult options to present to Zach's mum, Aoife. And the first option would have been the simplest one, and that is the natural history of Zach's cardiac condition is death in the first 3 to 5 days of life. And if you do nothing, then he would have died. And so we said, well, one option is that we don't do anything.
When Zach was born, his mother Aoife had to choose between letting nature take its course or intervening with a surgical procedure which would keep Zach alive until he was big enough to undergo major open heart surgery. She chose intervention.
Zach?
Yeah?
Zach? I'm going to go into the first room there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hey guys, how are you?
Today, Aoife and her parents are meeting Professor Mark Redmond to discuss this upcoming novel operation.
We literally now are correcting as much as we can. We know that one half of the heart isn't big enough to support a circulation, so he's really effectively got one ventricle, and that's going to have to supply the blood to the circulation to the lungs and to the body. Okay? Mm-hmm. And with that, we therefore have to rearrange plumbing around the heart to allow that to happen. It's a big operation for him. It's not like we've any choice. We've headed down the road, and he's as well as we could want him to be. But nonetheless, there is risk to it compared to, say, other heart operations that we do. I think if we did 10 babies like Zach, I'd expect to get 9 of them through, but I think I'd lose one along the way. So the risk would be therefore 10%, just one baby out of 10 may not make it. So this is higher risk, there's no question, but at the same time the risk is not something that would stop us doing the surgery or something like that.
What is the lifespan of a person with these procedures?
Well, it's hard to say, that's the thing. It is difficult to say, but what I can tell you is, first off, there's one half of a heart, and that's doing all the work.
Yeah.
So if we don't expect it to last forever, that's for sure. And as long as we'd love it to last 60, 70 years, but it probably won't. And when he gets into his teens, if it's working well, we'll be happy with that. When he gets towards his late teens, early 20s, it may begin to fail on us.
And is that
We've
when
seen
a
that.
transplant may be
And then
considered?
they're the kind of times when we're saying, well, let's see what else we can do here. But I prefer you not kind of focus in on that, because right now we just want to make the most of what he has. And if in time, you see, in 10, 20 years from now, we'll have all sorts of options that we don't even have available now. We're doing this for the right reasons. We've chosen to do it. He's as well as he can be. And if it works out and everything goes according to plan, well, wonderful. You'll turn around and you can forget who I am and move on.
Oh, we won't be forgetting who you are. You saved my life as well as his.
But the problem is if things don't work out for us.
You have to take a leap of faith that in 20 years that there will be a variety of surgical interventions and treatments available for your child that are not currently available, and you have to believe that that will be the case. And you have to slightly park the idea of what's going to happen in 20 years, or you'll become consumed by it, and you have to live life.
11-year-old Glenn Carey was recently rushed to Crumlin intensive care after suffering a major heart attack while playing football with his friends in Limerick.
We were sitting at home on a Sunday evening and we got the phone call. He was penned out on a green. And when I got down to the green, he was dead on the green. It was the girl resuscitating him. She kept him going for about 15 or 20 minutes. When the ambulance crew came along then, and they had no pulse, and they shocked him on the green. I was watching all this, you know, and it was horrific. You know, it's just looking at your son dead on the ground, you know, in front of you, and there's nothing you can do. They got him out to the Limerick Regional Hospital, and Crumlin insisted on having him straight away.
Glenn was diagnosed with catecholaminergic ventricular tachycardia, a potentially fatal abnormal heart rhythm triggered by physical activity.
That's what you meant to sound like.
He is currently on medication to slow his heart and has already had one surgery to protect him from cardiac arrest. He's back with Dr. Osleeslock today to discuss the insertion of a specialised defibrillator device. This is a rare procedure for a child of his age.
Great.
Decisions for interventions are always discussed by the multidisciplinary team at the weekly joint cardiac conference.
Jonathan, you did a sympathectomy on him about a month ago now. Yeah. So the question is, you know, I think none of us have felt completely comfortable without an ICD, and I think what I was going to put to the family is that we put in an ICD on him now that he's recovered from that, and it was really just to get consensus on that. I think your feeling was, Jonathan, that we probably should go ahead.
Joe Galvin and stuff for doing the symptectomy, but also putting in the ASCD as well, just as a backup, so they're doing both.
You know, we'll speak with his parents now later on this morning, but the father's first question was, well, when he has that in, can he go back to boxing, whatever? I mean, I think that's not just, I mean, for two reasons. One is that he'd have a great big ICD device in, so that's going to, you know, it's going to be in the way. But secondly, you know, I don't think, I'd be very reluctant to let him back to any kind of major adrenaline-producing sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know that the medicines work well, but nothing is 100%, and your heart goes back into this abnormal rhythm. The pacemaker will be there to recognise that and give your heart a little shock and get you back into a normal rhythm again.
If I got the pacemaker on, will I be able to still a little bit run, or?
Yeah, I know that you're interested in boxing and sports. Boxing, I'd have to say, for the time being, would be out.
I don't really mind about that. Will I be
And
able to do soccer or not?
well, I think gentle exercise, I think, would be fine. I think a small bit of running without pushing yourself to extremes, that's probably okay. What we want you to avoid is sudden bursts of really, you know, where you go from 0 to 100 straight away. That's probably what would get you into trouble.
But you know, like when I get like around 30 or anything, would it kind of slow it down a bit? Would the thing inside it, would the thing still work, or?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So the pacemaker relies on a battery there. The battery will last us about 10 years. So in 10 years' time, we have to go and put in a new pacemaker.
Yeah. No, another 10 years.
Every
10 years.
So probably every 10 years or so.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in agreement and now that you've recovered, there's nothing to be gained by waiting. You know, if this is something for your protection, then the sooner we do it, the better, because you need to be protected as soon as possible. So I would have thought probably Monday is too soon, but Monday week is when we were looking at doing. The challenge with the teenager is to suggest a lifestyle in terms of sports and activities that is realistic, that gives them a chance to lead a life that's reasonably acceptable to them and not have them rebel completely. At that age, we're all immortal, and even though this has happened, you get over it, you know. But for the parents, I think many of them live in constant fear that their child is going to go off to school and they never see them again.
Some children who present to the cardiology team can be offered a once-off curative heart surgery with no need for further treatment.
My 20-week scan, it showed up that Clara had 2 soft markers, so we were referred to Hollis Street up here, and I got an amnio done, and it confirmed that she had Down syndrome, and then they also spotted that day that she had a heart defect too. So we met Dr. McMahon in Hollis Street then a few weeks later, and he told us then that her defect would need open heart surgery.
Clara Cleary is 4 months old and has reached the optimal age for her surgery. Over 20% of the children who are operated on in this unit have Down syndrome, and AVSD, also known as a hole in the heart, is a common condition. Given the high number of Down syndrome children born in Ireland, Crumlin are specialists in correcting this defect.
Clara looks great. Wow, she's got big since I last saw her. We'll have to put her on a diet.
We will.
Great. So how are you keeping since we last saw you? She's doing okay?
Yeah.
And she should be due in hopefully in the next few weeks, hopefully. Yeah. And her work of breathing. I mean, she's working a little hard with the atrioventricular septal defect, but clearly the diuretic medicine you think is controlling things pretty good. Good girl. Hey. I'll let you tidy her up there, which is great. So we'll just stay on the current dose of diuretics and we'll try to get her in hopefully in the next few weeks. Okay. And did the surgeon go over with you what exactly is involved with the AV septal defect repair? Did he explain what's involved with that?
Yes, he did.
He did. Well, typically what we would hope is that the operation may take around 3 or 4 hours altogether, and then she'd be back in the ICU after that. You know, survival is 98.9% really, plus it is major surgery, you know, and I think we have to treat it with the respect it deserves.
It's the day of Glenn Carey's surgery to insert a specialised ICD device to protect him from having a heart attack. The device works by sending electrical pulses or shocks in the event of a life-threatening arrhythmia.
Now you can leave on your pants.
When you're asleep, we'll give you some numbing medicine to the chest here. Then we'll make a little opening in the skin here, and beneath the muscle, we'll make a little pocket for the pacemaker to go in. And then we'll put the pacemaker lead, or the wire itself, inside the heart. And again, you won't feel it, Glenn, you won't be aware of it at all. Put the pacemaker behind the muscle, close up the muscle, close up the skin, and that's it.
First thing I'll give you will just make you a bit sleepy woozy. We call this happy medicine. It makes you laugh and giggle. And then the second here I'll give you will put you to sleep for 20 seconds, all right? This is just the stuff that'll make you giggle and laugh.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Dr. Osleeslock has to make a pocket in the muscle wall close to the heart to insert the ICD device. He will then pass a lead through a catheter, through a vein in the chest, up into Glenn's heart itself and connect it to the device.
Sometimes it can catch.
The device will measure every beat of his heart and send daily readings to Crumlin.
Now we'll go ahead and make the pocket, so we'll make a slightly longer incision than we would normally make. a slightly bigger pacemaker.
There is a risk of damaging the heart wall or blood vessels, but Glenn is closely monitored throughout the procedure.
So now what I'm going to do is put the pacemaker inside the little pocket we've made in here. Any extra lead I just put behind the pacemaker so that anyone going back in doesn't cut through the lead when they're... There's the pacemaker lead, and there's the pacemaker itself. This is the battery part here, and then this here is the computer part, the clever bit.
In order to test if the device is working, the team have to put Glenn's heart into the fatal rhythm which almost killed him. The defibrillator device is designed to respond and shock him back into a normal heart rhythm. If it doesn't work, they have to be ready to get his heart back under control.
So here we go.
Pace speed's coming up, small T-wave shock. We're sensing the device is detected and charging, coming up. And we are backing out, we're in sinus.
Great, okay. So there he went from normal rhythm, VF, shock, and back to normal rhythm again.
Yeah.
The device is working and Glenn is now protected.
Okay, put the head back, you're all finished. Come back to recovery room now, okay? 6 later. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach Murphy is admitted to the Heart Centre for routine tests to make sure he's healthy enough to undergo a 10-hour open heart surgery tomorrow.
Hey, what's that? It's your tag on. You're dropping it because your ankles are losing weight. If only Mummy's ankles would lose a bit of weight, eh?
On your right side, it's in red.
Despite the imaging we've done, and we've taken lots of pictures of Zach's heart, there may still be unexpected twists and turns in this operation. Mark will reconstruct a very significant part of the internal aspect of Zach's heart, and also he will make an aorta, the big blood vessel that pumps oxygenated blood throughout your body. And Zach is not only malformed, it's actually interrupted. There's a large gap. He would bring all of that together, and he's got to do that while respecting, the pathway of nerves and vessels that he can barely see. The surgery is going to take 8 to 10 hours, and Zach will come out of it, hopefully a better person, hopefully with a circulation that will work for him in the medium term or the long term, and that will offer him a chance to grow up and to be a healthy boy.
Every patient is assigned a clinical nurse specialist to support and guide the family through surgery. Today, Helene Merchant is meeting Zach's mother, Aoife.
It's hard to believe we're getting very close now to
I know, yeah, the day after
this
tomorrow.
big surgery.
I was just down talking to the psychologist.
How did you get on?
Grand, yeah, and just trying to, I guess, put everything into perspective, constantly trying to be positive about it.
It's also hard when you look at him and he's doing all the normal baby things. He's feeding, he's peeing, he's pooing, and you're doing all the normal mummy things at home and just facing coming in for such a big cardiac surgery now in the next 24 hours.
So I reckon Wednesday or Thursday I'll have a big, meltdown. It'll all kind of hit me like a ton of bricks.
This is going to be quite a tough one just because it is an actual open heart surgery for Zach and for you, and it's going to be longer than the catheterisation and the intervention. Then once he's done this operation, he's to wean Zach off the heart-lung machine and allow his own heart and lungs to start pumping and beating again. And then the big challenge for Zach is coming off the heart-lung machine and his own heart and lung circulation taking over.
If that's all hitting me now.
I know. I would hope that we get you in at around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Smashing.
It is not guaranteed that Zach will survive the surgery. I think he will. I think there's enough there to work with, and we wouldn't impose this on Aoife. We wouldn't do it unless we thought there was a reasonable chance that we would come out of this with a live boy. But we haven't done this before. We've done lots of bits of this on various other kids, but have we done this particular operation? No. Zach is unique in every respect, and this surgery is unique to his, incredibly complex once-off cardiac condition. So Aoife has taken the decision to support Zach and to support us in getting him fit for surgery, but she may lose him tomorrow.
It is a difficult decision always to decide whether or not to intervene, depending on the condition of the child in the first place. And that is a big ethical debate that we often have. Can we offer that child a reasonable quality of life, or something that we would deem a reasonable quality of life? They may not be the sports person in the class, or they may not have the energy of their siblings or their peers, but nonetheless they find their own interests, and it's remarkable that a lot of children who've gone through several stages of surgery are very pleased with their own quality of life and feel that they have no limitations. We can provide a child with a good start in life as best we can, and we just find that life has its own way of eking through all difficulties.
Where's Harry in the helicopter?
3-year-old Lee Cotter and his parents have travelled up from Cork. He is about to have his second surgery called the double switch, a complex operation that is performed very rarely.
Lee has a condition called congenitally corrected transposition, and what that means in the simplest way is that the ventricles, the pumping chambers of the heart, are the wrong way around, and the valves that sit with them are the wrong way around. The problem is that my right hand and my left hand are totally different and do different things. And if I swap them around like this, they don't work as well, because my right hand was meant to be over here and my left was meant to be over here. And if you swap ventricles, you find that they are struggling, or they struggle, trying to do a job that they were never ever designed to do.
We do better when you're counting.
The oldest people to have undergone a double switch procedure are now in their 20s, which makes long-term outcomes hard to predict.
Tomorrow's the big day, yes. It's going to take all day, really, to effectively do the operation. We'll switch the two major arteries coming out of the heart. That's one switch. And the other switch is the way in which the blood flow accesses the heart. The left side, if you want, is attached to the right ventricle, which is not right, so we have to reattach it so the left goes into the left ventricle and the right atrium goes into the right. There are a few other things that have to be done. There's a large hole inside the heart, that's the VSD, you remember that. That has to be closed now, and once the operation is done, it's all about will the heart recover the way we want it to. Yeah. I made it sound pretty straightforward there, probably.
No, I don't think you did.
But nonetheless, this is a big operation for him. There's no doubt about it. So a big day for him, there's no doubt. You might say, well, what is the risk? So I'd expect him, therefore, to be at the lower end of it.
Would I go home?
Yeah, we'll go home when you're better, yeah?
Huh?
You're going home when you're better?
I would anticipate that the risk overall to his life is around somewhere between 5 but less than 10%. So this consent form just says that we had a chat about things that I've said to you there are some potential problems, and we've talked about those, but we'll do whatever it takes to get us through this. Okay?
See you tomorrow.
Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
High five. High five. Yeah, alright.
Yeah, go.
Go and injure that man in any way. Down low.
Oh. I'm only learning.